I really don't even know what to say. Bulls end up only losing this game by 3, but good Lord, did they not get outworked, outclassed, in almost every way in this game. 31 assists from the Suns, only 18 assists on 43 made baskets for the Bulls. That's just not going to get it done. Period. That's just not going to get it done against a team like the Phoenix Suns. Io only 1 for 7, 0 for 4 from 3-pointer, 2 points from Io, only 2 rebounds, no assists from Io in this game, which just goes to show you how the ball movement was not where it needed to be. Vooch with another double-double with 13 and 12, 38 points from DeMar, 32 points from Zach, 13 points from Coby off the bench. He was 3 for 7 overall, 2 for 5 from 3-pointer. But the Bulls just did not play, especially well enough on defense to even try to be close to winning this game. Yeah, it's crazy. Malcolm Hill went off in garbage time to really make this loss look a little bit more respectable than what it was, which is crazy. Malcolm Hill, 3 for 3. 2 for 2 from 3-pointer, a plus minus of plus 12. Just crazy what he was able to come in there and do. Get down. No. Get down. But yeah, so that's what happens with this Bulls team. That's just a bad game. Bro, I left. What the fuck happened? Bullshit. That's what happened. Oh, you got to watch this game. No, we didn't almost win it all. Malcolm Hill just went off in garbage time. So, yeah. Malcolm Hill definitely keeping a roster spot in garbage time. He's the GOAT in garbage time, apparently. Like, wow. That was just crazy. That was crazy, man. I feel like we're praising Malcolm Hill like we did McKinney. Listen, I'm joking about it now. It's literally doesn't mean anything. Malcolm Hill can go too. Like, this is just the thing that's frustrating about this loss, even more so than last night's loss, is just the lack of effort. And I know back-to-back, and I know people will make that excuse coming off of back-to-back or whatever, but I don't really give a damn about any of that, just to be frank. The Bulls need to be showing effort. And if we keep giving them or shooting them bell on this, well, it was off of back-to-back, then listen, this is the NBA. There are going to be a lot of back-to-backs. Yes, the Bulls are playing a lot of games in a condensed amount of time. I told you guys they're on a stretch of playing like 10 games in like 16 days or something like that. They're in the middle of that. But at the end of the day, like, to completely lay a goose egg of an effort in a game is just wow. It's just wow, for sure. Let's see. It's not really an excuse. We know why the team's bad, though, Pimper. The team's been deflated by injuries and everything else. Zach still isn't 100. And that's not an excuse. That's a fact. We need to words mean things, right? And we need to identify that. A reason is not an excuse. Excuse would be if to say, oh, well, Zach couldn't play the best defense because of his, he doesn't have Lonzo telling him what that's an excuse, right? That's an excuse. A reason is not an excuse. The Bulls have reasons why they're playing so bad. They're missing a lot of players that are key to their defense. Last night, missing Zach and Coby. Tonight, everyone was playing. Zach, it wasn't the issue here. It was the lack of effort on defense. Now, that's not an excuse. That is just real reality. That's not an excuse. Let's see. We were down 11 at one point in the fourth. I loved our resilience toward the end, but our lackluster defense, low effort, playing ISO ball so much wasn't going to. Again, let's just identify it. Let's just stop throwing the ISO ball out there. Let's be clear here. There were absolutely possessions down the stretch where even Zach LaVine was just watching DeMar. Like, it's easy just to blame it on ISO ball, but it's more of a ball movement and player movement as well. That's why you have to have both. Like, you can't just pass the ball if your players are just sitting there watching DeMar go to work. You can't have nothing but ISO ball then, because if DeMar was to try to make a pass, it's going to be nothing but turnovers. So this team needs to stop like just watching. Like I don't know what it is. That is a coaching thing, right? The coach needs to be on them about always moving without the ball. And we see it happen so often that this team just does not. They sit back and they just watch DeMar or Zach, sometimes even Vooch, try to get these buckets, and everybody's kind of just out on the perimeter. Stacey King pointed it out today. Like, you allow your player, the person guarding you, to cheat off of you if you're not moving without the ball. That's one of the things that's happening. This whole thing of it just being us saying ISO ball blanketly needs to stop, and we need to identify exactly what's going on out here. Yes, there are some times where Zach and DeMar don't see players that are open. That part of ISO ball is true for sure. But down the stretches of games, what we're seeing isn't just the fact of DeMar or Zach going into isolation ball. It's the players around them not moving without the ball at all. At all. Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit. Hello, Haize. Let's be honest. The final score is not indicative of how this game was played, but I can say Derozan is a monster. Rough part of the schedule, I think, will be okay. Easier games ahead. I get that easier games ahead, but this is, again, I'm looking through. I don't care about the easier games. I'm looking through this team and through the lens of a playoff team. We can't if we're just going to be bottom feeders, then guess what? That's an early exit. So it can't just be the schedule is going to get easier. This team needs to figure it out. That's not going to do shit for the Bulls. I have a whole video on why Turner is not the answer. Go and watch that. That's lowbrow. That's easy pickings. That's literally just talking about what the national media and the conversation with less intelligent Bulls fans have been all season. Miles Turner gets the Bulls no closer to the title at all. Not even a little bit. Brian the GOAT, I can't wait till this Bulls team is fully healthy. You and me both, brother. I can't wait, because at that point in time, we know what it is. He'll come in. It's not coming in the clutch. That doesn't mean anything, man. It doesn't mean anything. What else are people going to say? It's a size problem. We need more bigs. Our fan base really needs to pay attention to what's going on. Defense is inconsistent as fuck, and people don't move on offense. That is for sure. That is for sure. They could have used Hill instead of Matt Thomas. Listen, again, that's just garbage time. That's true. I noticed the guys kept just watching. I feel like Caruso used to make the team move more. We got to stop blaming it just on one player. Listen, he talks out there, right? And he definitely helps. But this is a systematic thing that's wrong with the Bulls. This is something that's ingrained. As much as we talk about Bulls culture, this is something that the coaches need to get in there. Having a player out there that tells you is fine, right? But then if a player goes down and you lose that completely, that tells me the coaches aren't stepping up either. This coaching staff needs to sit there and break down with these players why moving without, like, stop getting caught with like deer in headlights. Stop with that. We can't even trade a first. We can trade a first. It's just not this year's first. We can trade our 2027 first round pick. I think that's the first round pick that we can move. We can trade that today. We just can't trade our own pick this year until we're actually in the draft. So D Greatest with a good point here. We got team issues. I don't think one trade can fix. We have to be flat out better amongst ourselves. That is 100% true. For people who are really just focused on it being one trade that's going to fix all this, they're not paying attention to actual basketball. You can bring in one player. I don't care. You can bring in Jordan and Pip. Well, no, that probably would fix it. But you can bring in a great defensive player, and it's not going to fix the issues with this team scheme overall. You're going to have a better defensive player in there with still a lack of just the correct execution and play calling from your coaching staff, and that is going to be an issue regardless. Again, I'm not calling for Billy Donovan to be fired like some people or anything like that. Nothing crazy like that. this coaching staff just needs to talk to this team and get them in gear, period. We've been losing games that are winnable even with the injuries. That is sure. That is sure. Now, again, with that being said, there are some games that we're just going to fall short on because we just don't have enough. But I agree with what you're saying there. No, I don't think that's it either. I don't think that's necessarily the issue either. I think we're seeing he's being worked by people who are just been in the league longer than him. I don't necessarily think, when I think rookie wall, I think of like effort and energy. I don't think that that's what's happening out here. I think that I was just been running into people that just have his number. When the team play with energy, we are literally unstoppable. I wouldn't even think about a trade, but the energy is not there. And Vooch post Ayton up. What the fuck? True, definitely. JJRT says, Haize, I believe after All-Star, we'll get adjusted. I hope so, man. I really hope so. If it wasn't for Mitchell Robinson and Grayson Allen, we'd have to imagine what this team would have been like had Patrick Williams not went down, had we kept Alex Caruso, because he brought so much energy when he came back, and been able to weather the storm between with Alonzo being gone longer. Definitely looks completely different. Grant won't do shit for this team. Yeah, absolutely. Not at all. Not at all. I think you have to take into consideration a few things. Again, Patrick Williams was moved from the wing to being the 4. And again, like with Patrick Williams' activity, he was also playing very timid to begin with because he was coming back from injury, which is one of the things that's maybe an issue if he comes back even early now. But you never know how Patrick Williams would have developed into the role. Hell, Javonte Green doesn't get a lot of energy, a lot of rebounds, but how Patrick Williams could have evolved playing that 4 and playing a new position, as well as his defensive intensity and effort. We don't know what we could have got from Patrick Williams. Do you think the Bulls will drop in the standings? If so, do you think they would be when they start? I don't know, and I don't care. I don't mean that like snidely or anything, Brian the GOAT. But I've said this before, and I'm very adamant. Seeding doesn't matter to me. Getting everybody back healthy to me. If we were healthy the whole season, of course, seeding. At this point, if the Bulls can get everyone back and get back to being top 5 offensively and defensively, I don't give a damn where we're seated. I give a damn about us being healthy and going into the playoffs with the best possible roster that we can have. But I don't obsess over seeding like some fans. I just don't. Do you think a trade for Grant will give us? No, at all. Not at all. Jeremy Grant, go and look at this stats. This is backed up, and I want you guys to look at it yourself. His team is actually better on defense when he's not on the court. That's just facts. So this idea that Jeremy Grant is an elite defender is false. He's a solid defender within the team scheme, but the Pistons have been better defensively with Jeremy Grant off the court than on the court. And that's not just the Pistons. Go and look historically at Jeremy Grant's teams when he's off the court versus when he's on the court. Jeremy Grant does a lot of the flashy things that, like, for casual fans, like he gets blocks, right? Stuff like that, steals. And those are the flashy things that will make some casual fans think he plays great defense, and he just doesn't. I'm not saying he's terrible defensive. I'm not saying that at all. But he's not the defender that some Bulls fans have worked themselves into thinking that he is. So. Ellie, I've already talked about this. It's not just iso ball. You gotta break it down more of a basketball stance. It's not just iso ball. No, Malcolm Hill does not need to play more at all. Not even a little bit. Really, ISO is the problem? No, they aren't doing ISOs because the floor is not getting cleared. What it is, they aren't moving and they are just watching, waiting for the ball. You killed me with the W words back to back, but agree. That's 100% fact. That's 100% fact. How do we lose by only 3 points at the end? Malcolm Hill went into God mode. Like literally, he went. Somebody upped all his attributes on 2K, and he went out. He went up. Who do you think the Bulls should get, whether it's a trade or buy? I don't get in MCCs. You've been around here long enough to know I don't do specific names. I'd have to wait and see everyone who's bought out. We know potential buyout candidates: Derek Favors, Paul Millsap, possibly Tristan Thompson. There's like some other ones that I read that came up recently that kind of surprised me. But I don't do specific targets. That's just not a thing that I do. Let's see. I never thought I would want to swing on our own fan base. Listen, hey JJ, this isn't anything new. Like I said, even though like this channel and podcast is 6-7 months old at this point, like I've literally been a part of Bulls Twitter, Bulls Facebook groups, Bulls Reddit forever. This literally the division in this fan base happens every single year about something different. Every single year, all the way back. Like it's every single year, man. Even when the Bulls, the baby Bulls era, when it was the Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng, Ben Gordon, even before Ben Wallace was signed, like there was discourse among the fan base. It's always gonna happen. Yeah, but who cares about the standings right now? Like we're not fully healthy. We got to stop obsessing over seeding, man. People got to stop obsessing over seeding. Yeah, the greatest. I love you, brother. All these trade targets and bio targets, but the man who fits us the most is Patrick Williams. Now, I will say this: I guess it remains to be seen because think about this. Even when Patrick Williams was in, I believe, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but that was when Tony Bradley and Derek Jones Jr. either weren't playing or still out hurt or something like that. So we have yet to see really what our forward rotation can look like with Patrick Williams, Derek Jones Jr., who can play some four. You know how I feel about Tony Bradley. So we've really, at no point in the season, saw how this front court rotation would have worked out with everyone healthy. The positive that we saw from Derek Jones Jr. when he was playing backup center was crazy how good that pick and roll with him Alonzo became. But with that being said, I still think the Bulls do need to add somebody, even if Patrick Williams is coming back and they think he'll be ready to start and gear up for their playoff run. But like I said, Paul Millsap, if he's bought out, could be a low cost, high reward possible option for the Bulls for sure. NBA Breakdown. Appreciate the follow back on IG, bro. Oh man, I didn't even know. I tend to always try to follow back. There are some pages that follow me that I just will not click because they're like the IG version of Inside the Chicago Bulls, so they don't get no love. But it kind of is what it is there. Do. Let's see. Let's go to Evan, bro. We literally don't need a trade for nobody. This team, when fully healthy, is scary good. Y'all need to shut up about this trade class unless it's for Derek Favors. That's so funny, man. Oh man, I'm not even listening. Listen, anything about Vooch is the weak link, I'm not, because that's just idiotic. So I'm not even going into that. People who say that, to me, I just assume don't know shit about basketball. Patrick Williams will not fix everything. If you believe that, I got some beachfront property for you in Arizona. I don't think anybody's saying there's no player that fixes everything, right? Nobody's saying that, and so like that response is silly, but I don't think anybody's saying that. There's not one person who fixed everything that's wrong with the Bulls. Nobody. I don't care who you name in the league. Billy's capping hard in this press conference. If you see it later, Jesus, it's so crazy. I don't see press conferences and stuff anymore because I'm doing this. You are tripping, Homewood. You're tripping hard. He showed up last night and how he guarded Embiid, especially off the ball. Especially when you look at Embiid only getting one offensive rebound. Even when we played the Bucks, he when he rotated on Giannis, he had some really good rotations and on ball and off ball defense. So no, now and this I think I addressed this in the halftime hangout. For people who only watch box scores, I can understand why people say that because he does, of course, score more against lesser talent. But to say that he only shows up against lesser talent is foolish. Period. Or depleted with McKinney. Listen, or yeah, but oh god, Alfonso McKinney's so terrible, man. Even though I agree we need a move, I don't want to risk a move that will lower the ceiling for our core the following years. This is not a now or never year, in my opinion. We'll compete for a while, and I fight that too all the time. When you hear people in the comments, this Bulls window is 3 years, all because that's DeMar's contract. It's foolish, right? It's only 3 years if you make it only 3 years. And a smart team, when you have young pieces, and I'm not saying that every young piece on this team is going to end up staying here, but when you have young pieces that can extend, especially if they develop, you don't give that up to just focus on the 3 year window. Keep in mind, the Bulls, when they built this roster, was a roster to be able to compete. They did not expect it to be quite this good this far this soon. And to keep on top of that, the Bulls have so many options on what they can do between expiring contracts, their exception, now that there will probably be more of a free agent destination than just saying, hey, we only have 3 years. Like that, when people start saying that type of shit, I just have to shake my head at them, man. Sweaty bloke, no. And that's why I say when people get on the Vooch is the weak link, you find me another center that statistically ranks in the top 10 of their position in every category. And that can replace that, then we can talk. Guess what? There isn't one. There just isn't one, right? There's not one that offers. Yes, Vooch has his limitations. That's why roster construction is important, right? But there's not that many centers you can get that are going to be improvement over Vooch, even defensively. We talked about it. Vooch is 7th defensively amongst all centers in the NBA. Let's see. This is what I'm going to, and see, this is what I always present to somebody. HB, give me a realistic trade in which trading Coby White brings you somebody in that also, and then also, what are the Bulls going to do for bench scoring? Because there's never been a team that's made a significant run being ranked 29th in bench scoring, which the Chicago Bulls were before Coby White came back and started playing well. Give me that, because I can tell you right now, you trade Coby White to just bring somebody, that's 5. Have a front loaded starting 5, but the bench scoring is not going to be enough to get it done in the playoffs either. Patrick Williams has a higher ceiling than Turner and Grant. Well, yeah, ceiling, but ceilings aren't always hit. But I mean, yeah, absolutely. Right now, being 20 years old, he absolutely has a higher ceiling than them because you kind of know what those two players are. They could, theoretically get better on certain rosters or things like that. But yeah, he definitely has a higher ceiling. So let's see what else we got. How can you say that when we don't have any draft capital? We literally no. What are you an idiot? Like what? Okay. Bulls have their own first round pick this year. They can't trade it during the season, but they can trade it in the draft, right? But who said anything about the draft? And keep in mind, the Bulls have picks. They have picks. So that if that's what you're talking about as far as like whatever, but we're talking about the young players they already have on this team. That's what we're focused on. That you saying we don't have draft capital is even more of a reason to hold on to young players rather than try to get rid of them now to theoretically on this 3-year window that Bulls fans are so fixated on. So no, the Bulls have draft capital. It's not great draft capital, but they absolutely have draft capital. LiAngelo Ball does not do shit for the Bulls either. LiAngelo is in the G League where he needs to be. Defense is 90% effort. We give away too many easy buckets away. I know we're missing guys, but that sometimes it looks like we're not even trying to play defense, especially the first half tonight. Yeah, the Bulls get complete like quarters and halves where the defensive effort is just in the toilet for sure. Listen, this I don't give a fuck about none of that. You here. This is Chicago Bulls Central. Get familiar or get gone. Period. I'm gonna do what I do. If you take offense by it, there's a dislike button there, and you can go to inside the Chicago Bulls with that bullshit. Period. I'm gonna say what the fuck I gotta say here. This is my platform that we built here. You know, shout out to the mods. So no, you don't get to police that. If you don't like it, you can go bye-bye. There's no one in the Windy City G League to replace Thomas throws. It was a bad game tonight. No worries for me. I know how good this team is full strength. Plus, I remember how we were the last few years. I'm literally enjoying this season for sure. For sure. Coby White for Derrick Rose. Well, okay, here's the thing. What does that really do for you? Like, and not like outside of fans being super excited for that, what does that really do for you? Derrick Rose is not the 3-point threat that Coby is when he's on. Is Derrick Rose overall better? Yes, I will give you that, right? I will give you that. He also is probably going to get Derrick get paid more, but that does nothing for your defense, right? Because Derrick still isn't the greatest defender. There's nothing for the forward position. So Coby for Derrick Rose trade, I think outside of just the pop of that, and I know you probably, I don't know if you meant that seriously or not, it really doesn't do much. Hey man, you got to use that nursing home Wi-Fi as best as you can, man. As best you can. You got to do that. It's so funny when people say that and they be the ones talking shit online. It's so funny. I myself don't believe AK will trade Patrick Williams, but from my observation, he seems to be a little overrated. I don't think he started on his college team. I think he needs a lot of work from his ball. So yeah, don't get me wrong. Patrick, this front office is not going to trade Patrick Williams. That's just not right now. There's going to be a long time before they even think about trading Patrick Williams. That's just realistic. That's not me saying what I think of Patrick Williams. That's literally my observation from the way this front office talks about Patrick Williams. Now, as far as overrated, there's a little bit of that, admittedly, for like people like he's the next Kawhi, he's this. Yes, there's some overratedness there. What I will say is that the reason, and this is why I've always said the reason of me trying to like identify why this front office is so big on Patrick Williams is a couple of things. It is what he showed defensively as a 19-year-old rookie. It is because he still does have a high ceiling and a lot of potential in how you can build out his game. B, he's C, I guess, is he's a player that can give you defensive intensity that you don't have to call offense for. And if he builds up the confidence to just take the open shots that are going to come to him naturally on this team, he's great there. And then on top of that, he adds so much versatility on how you can build the roster around. Well, how you can build the roster with a player like him on it. He can play the 3. He can play the 4. He doesn't need a lot of shots. So if you need to put somebody next to him that needs a lot of shots, it's not going to take away from his game. So because of that, and because that they literally can have 3 to 4 years of just building out Patrick Williams' game, it makes sense on why they're so high on him. But yes, for a lot of the Bulls fans are like, he's going to be the next Kawhi. More proof needs to be in the pudding before I'm ready to say that. But I will say he has super high potential, whatever type of player that he ends up being. And he's a player that is going to give you, if nothing else, usually with players, you need one thing, one skill set that separates you. And his defense does that. We need to see more consistently. We need to see him bring it at the 4 like he did on the wing last year. But that's why this front office really does think highly of him. So, and I, along with an answer for a simple comment, but I wanted to get into that. Let's see. No, not getting into that. So Coby White can't really get much to help us. You're right. But what we really need to do, in my opinion, is trade for. Okay, let me ask you this. Right? Let me ask you this. Is that only your opinion because you heard rumors that the Bulls were interested in it? And the reason why I asked it is because so many Bulls fans fixate on these people after there are rumors or notation. Because I heard no Bulls fan bringing up Pirtle before that report came out. And if there were some, it's very little early on when Bulls fans were literally just looking at whatever center that we can bring up. So again, I don't think that that's necessarily even we don't need a player of even of his caliber to really just fix what's going on here. But I understand, like I'm not shaking my nose at it. I'm just asking, like, is that your opinion because you heard the rumors about it? Because I think there are other players that can also help us. But Pirtle would be a huge get depending on what we have to give up for him, for sure. Yes, D Greatest, it's the same as the Twitter handle. So everything is all the same. That's one thing that I do. I don't like having to memorize different usernames on different platforms. So my personal is CEO Haize everywhere. The podcast is Bull Central Pod everywhere. So yeah. From Malar Miller, hey bro, before the season, would you have believed the Bulls being a top 4 team in the East by All-Star Week, or the Nets being a play-in? Not the play-in, but I go back and look at my preview to the season. I did say the Bulls would be in the top 4. That is one thing that I definitely did say. I did not expect number 1 or 2, but I did say in the top 4. The Nets being a play-in by the standings, no, not at all, not even a little bit. Trent Baker says, what about trading for Serge Ibaka? Not a huge trade, but definitely an upgrade. Like when it comes to trades, it really depends on what you have to give up. Sometimes as fans of a team, and this is to every team and fan base, we think that we can get somebody that can really help us for just our garbage. And I don't know if I want to give up anybody who's really getting minutes in a rotation for Serge. If by chance it's like, hey, Troy Brown Jr.'s contract's expiring, you guys don't have to keep him next year, let's get Serge, and that gets it done, then yeah, absolutely. It really just depends on what you have to give up to get it. Let's see what else we got. What's the most dangerous versions of the Bulls starting 5? It depends on what you like. If everybody's on and doing their thing, of course, Zoe, Levine, DeMar, Vooch are in there. The key thing is what you do at that 5. I really do think, right? And we haven't gotten to see a lot of it because when, like, I don't remember somebody going, look, I don't know how many minutes Vooch and Derrick Jones Jr. have played together, but I really do like the idea of a fully healthy Derrick Jones Jr. next to Vooch. I just really do. I think that, especially with how many corner threes that like Javonte Green just gets naturally in the flow of this offense, I really think Derrick Jones Jr. can hit that. So let's see. Brendan L. Jet, please forgive me if this was addressed. I missed the game tonight. Did Vooch just lay an egg, or was it a tough night for him? It was a tough night for everyone. Vooch did not have his shooting going at all tonight. They got him some good looks. They didn't get him in the post as much as I thought they would try to get him. But even when they did get him in the post, it really wasn't. He didn't really do as good as what we would have thought. Is this real life? It's my birthday. We lost to the Suns. I lost my wallet at Disneyland. Why is this day happening? Wow, Nick. I'm sorry your birthday's going that way, brother. I'm sorry. You and Shay share a birthday at that, I think. So, yeah. Listen, CJ, people see the clickbait videos like Top Notch, and all of a sudden that's their source. Top Notch and Inside the Chicago Bulls are by far the worst motherfuckers that you can really, for any type of information. Top Notch flat out makes, like, Inside the Chicago Bulls embellishes the shit out of shit, right? He literally takes some like a little bit news, and the way that he worded is like the Bulls are trading all the caps for Jeremy Grant, when really the rumor is the Bulls were interested. At least he does that, right? He takes a rumor and sensationalizes it for clicks. Top Notch just flat out makes the shit up. Like there's literally been times where Top Notch has posted a video, and because I've seen it, and I literally go searching for anything that says anything that he just talked about in this video, and I can't find it anywhere on the internet. Top Notch will literally sit back. His sit back's probably in his mama's basement while he's using a king size bottle of Lubriderm from Sam's Club. And sit back and think, oh, you know what would be amazing? If the Bulls traded the Jordan statue for Dennis Rodman's ghost. That's what they're doing. And then he posts a video about it. So do you still see the Bulls winning 55 games this season? The thing, it really depends on how they play out the rest of this between now and the All-Star break, if any trades get done or anything. But also, once everybody's back healthy, can they go on a run? The Bulls, as they start getting players back, as Alex Caruso comes back, as Derrick Jones Jr. comes back, as Zach LaVine's back get healthy, can they go on another big run? I think 50 wins is definitely happening this season. I don't have any question about that. 55 wins, just with the injuries and everything, man, it can be really, really tough. Just want to say I really like this channel. I love how informative you are on the Bulls and basketball in general. Thanks for these streams and content. Go Bulls. Thank you so much, Phenom Forever. I appreciate that, man. First of all, you're an Undertaker fan. Undertaker was my favorite wrestler growing up. But I appreciate that. And that's what I really wanted to bring. When I started this channel, it's all about the integrity of the content. For me, that's why I don't do a lot of the sensationalized videos, or you don't get clickbait video. I'll make a clickbait thumbnail to all day long, but I won't make a clickbait video at all, man. I don't believe in that. I really don't. HV back in the building. I've seen him through the rumors and really just brought it to mind that it could be really. And see, I appreciate that. I appreciate you admitting that, man. Someone like Dennis Schroeder also pops in the rumors, by the way. Maybe talk about that personally. I have a whole video on that. Not just that. It's a segment in another video, but I don't believe these Schroeder rumors. But like I said, sometimes where there's smoke, there fires. I just personally don't believe it. Let's see. D Greatest. Bet just found your link tree, bro. I'm gonna spread the podcast around to people around the city. I appreciate that, man. Somebody said in last night's stream that there's a lot of people talking about me in the cities of Chicago, which is just crazy to me, man. That's crazy to me. Is running Cook at the 4 viable? I don't think so. I really don't. From what I've seen from Cook so far is that he really does need a point guard to set him up to be effective, at least offensively. And he really doesn't, again, I love Tyler Cook, and I've been very big on me wanting to see him develop. But just to be honest, he doesn't really give you much defensively right now either. So I don't know. I mean, technically you could, but I think it clogs the middle. Tyler Cook hasn't shown the ability to even shoot a mid-range shot or even a hook shot. So I just don't think that you can play them together right now. I don't think so. Haize, why you look so tired tonight? Because I am, brother. I am. Like, I'm tired. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. I'm tired as hell. That just is what it is, man. Haize, appreciate the update on Voot. Shout out to the chat. I appreciate you, Brandon L. Jet, always being supportive, my brother. Top notch bull straight Zach LaVine for Udonis has. Oh, and don't forget, so it's so funny. One of these days, I can't remember, I posted a video in the comments, y'all were eating Top Notch up. Somehow Top Notch came to the comments, and like overnight, it was like 1 a.m., left a bunch of comments under thing, and then he deleted them all. But like the thing is with YouTube, they send you an email notification when you get comments so you can still see them. So I saw them in the email, but then he deleted it all. He was hot at y'all. He was hot. Let's see what else we got. King Austin, I know we all expected for this stretch to be touchy due to the key pieces out, but do you think the Bulls have overperformed with all these guys out, or do you think they're playing how expected? Listen, the Bulls are honestly, in some stretches, are playing better than I expected with everyone out, and sometimes they're playing much, much worse than I expect. It's just really so up and down, right? So up and down and inconsistent, man. D Greatest, yeah, you actually know our team and not just basketball reference. It's refreshing. I live the Chicago Bulls. Like literally, I live the Chicago Bulls for sure. Do you think that we should stop shooting so many threes? It seems we're doing fine until SVG tweeted that the Bulls were doing well without shooting a crazy amount of threes. I mean, I think that when everyone's back, we should be shooting a bunch of threes. Definitely. When everyone's back, I definitely think we should be trying to take more threes. But with this roster, woo, I just don't know, man. I just don't know. The chat isn't popular with the people who don't know. Listen, and the thing is, it's so funny, right? Because like yesterday, I specifically laid out, I said, wait till the people who only watch box score come into this chat. And it literally like 10, 15 minutes later, it happens. Like it's you always can tell when you're having a conversation with people who actually watch basketball than people who look at the box score after the fact and then try to piece together what happened in the game and then try to have a conversation. It's really interesting, but you can always tell when that happens. Show enough caught you on the Windy City Breeze. Good collab with other channels. Thank you, brother. I hope that you've seen enough here that you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and click on the content, man, and stay subscribed to everything. We drop just about daily content here, man, and we're a family over here. Let's see. Do you think reaching stretch of offensive output from Green will continue, or was it an anomaly? I think Green definitely has the ability to score in double-digit figures consistently. I think he gets a lot of open looks, especially on that corner three. That's one thing that happens just by the natural flow of this offense is that a power forward gets a lot of open corner threes, and I trust his ability to hit them more time than not. So Vooch and Cook together could dominate the rim. What? I don't know if I can agree with that one. And I'm a huge Tyler Cook fan and I love Vooch, but man. Uh Charlie Ruby in the building. I don't know why they don't try to get Vooch in the paint early. Let him get in rhythm, then he should start shooting perimeter shots. We did that during his hot streak, but we didn't do that today. Yeah, but keep in mind, Vooch did get some looks in the paint. Now they didn't go to what he didn't get his first shot until. Why do I feel like he didn't get his? Maybe it was he didn't get his second shot until the second quarter, but they didn't go to him nearly as much as I had expected them to. That's for sure. Box score watchers probably think Javonte Green is a G League player. It's always funny, man. It's always funny. Evan, I got to dip. I have a flight in the morning for Charlotte. I'll be at the game Wednesday. Hopefully, I don't lose my temper like I did tonight watching the game. Get you some rest, brother. I will see you here during that game. You already know. Have a good night, brother. The Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine. Well, Zach didn't play last game, but I see what you mean. Top now, Bulls interested in LeBron playing the trade. Patrick, Coby, 2 firsts, 3 seconds, and Troy Brown Jr. for LeBron and a retirement plan and an air conditioner. Listen, that is so funny. That sounds like a top notch video for sure. No, I don't think Cook will. If anybody gets waived, I think it's going to be Alfonso McKinney because he's just terrible. I don't know if y'all talked about it already, but that second quarter with zero. Listen, that I would love to see how many times in NBA history there's been a 0 assist quarter from a team. Like that can't happen too often at all. It can't happen too much at all. It can't happen. We need to pitch in to send Zach to handles camp. Love my boy, but he got to work, especially in crunch time. Like Zach's handles sometimes in crunch time, you just look and you're like, my boy, what is happening? Hold on to the ball. Pause. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Pusha T. Listen, the fact that Pusha T is off Good Music and not working with Kanye anymore, I expect Pusha's album because Daytona and listening, like, I don't know how much you guys really like have watched the interviews. Listening to Pusha T when he talked about Daytona, he literally said there was like 14 tracks that got left off that album because Kanye wanted to do that stupid 7-track thing that probably would have made it even more perfect album. I can't wait for Pusha's next album. What's going on, Julia? As Felipe Garcia. Oh yeah, for sure. And Felipe, so there's a handful of people that won't respond to me because I call them out on the stupid shit. Felipe's one. He will not. Felipe will not respond. Like, there are times where he leaves a comment and I break down why everything he said was some of the stupidest shit ever written in the YouTube comment, and he will not respond. So like, yeah, Felipe's like, he's literally a terror, and he's an idiot too. Like, he does not know basketball at all. Youngest MVP. Yeah, okay. What prime Derrick Rose in the 2020 team or the worst signing for agency MVP candidate on the 2011 Bulls? I would say DeRozan on the 2011 Bulls, because if you put DeRozan on that team, one of the things that hurt that team is not having somebody to be able to get a bucket when look at the way that the Miami Heat, they only stopped the Bulls in that playoff series because they put LeBron on Derrick Rose. If you have DeMar and what he's able to do in the mid-range and score, you can't do that. So yeah, definitely on that DeMar on the 2011 team. Killer Bean, you don't like? No, I like Kanye. I just think that what I said before, Kanye very much limited what Pusha can do. Very much limited, but I like Pusha as a general. Pusha is forever a legend. And not just that. Let's not forget Exodus 2-3, right? 2-3, Exodus 2-3 is one of the best diss songs of all time. And people forget that. He completely, and it's even better now. Everything that Pusha T said in Exodus ended up coming true. And he said it before, years before it happened. He completely dismantled Lil Wayne at a time where Lil Wayne was at the top of his game. So yeah. Yeah, Felipe is bad. And then he'll do that thing of, do you remember what happened with the 2011 Bulls? Do you remember? Like, and it's like, that has nothing to do with now. That's not even the same front office. Like, he literally has 2 comebacks to anything. So I feel like there isn't Pusha T on uh um Run the Jewels track. I believe he has a track with Run the Jewels. Somebody correct me if I listened to so many DJ mixes too, so maybe it was a mix that I heard and it wasn't actually one of them. So this is one of the first live streams I've been at, and I'm wondering, do you have a passion for any other sport? I love sports in general. I'm starting the Chicago Bears channel. Chicago Bears Central will be started soon. I love WNBA. I'll be covering the sky here when the WNBA season comes as well. I love baseball. I love football. Yeah, I love sports in general. So new Crit out. Listen, between Pusha, Crit, and Kanye, I mean, not Kanye, and Kendrick dropping this year, it's going to be a good year for hip hop. Good year for hip hop. Big Crit literally should be mentioned amongst the J. Coles, the Drakes, the Kendricks. He should be mentioned among them, especially way more than Big Sean should be. Crit has been more consistent than a lot of those people. But the thing is that Crit doesn't have that one universally held classic album, and if he gets that, I think people will really wake up to him. D greatest top notch Bulls trading MJ's rings for Kobe's Jedi. Oh, I'm moving on from now. I should have read that one before I read it out loud. Oh, if y'all ain't know, Haize's hip hop podcast is dope as hell too. Check it out. Thank you, the greatest. I appreciate that. Haize, you don't got to answer this, but Sox or Cubs? Sox all the way. Cubs growing up, but Sox all the way right now. Fan of both, but if I had to pick between the two, it's definitely Sox. Alex Flores, K.R.I.T is grossly overrated. I don't get underrated. I see your other comment. Underrated. I don't get how he's still under the radar because he doesn't have a classic album. Literally, that's it. I think if K.R.I.T had that one universally acclaimed classic album, people will wake up. He's been very consistent, but even me as a huge K.R.I.T fan, he does not have a classic album. There's the little bit of the South bias affect him as well. I think so. Keep in mind, K.R.I.T too. I think a lot of people didn't take him seriously because he sounded so much like Pimp C at the beginning. Now he doesn't do that sound like that anymore. He's really grown into his own style. But yeah, I think those are the things that really limit him. So yes, I will be doing a trade deadline live stream. We'll start an hour before the trade deadline, end the hour after the trade deadline. I don't think people necessarily hate on Southern rappers. I think that there's just this idea that Southern rappers don't have lyricism. And then like, especially with K.R.I.T, I think like sometimes Southern rappers are so versatile in what they do, and like the beat selection, people forget that there's lyricism there. I still think Mount Olympus is the best response. It wasn't really a response, but best response to Control. But yeah. Probably ain't going to be at the Bears channel because I'm a Steelers fan. Who knows? Though, also respect for being a fan of both teams. I'm a Cubs fan for life, though. Don't hate the Sox, though. It's funny you say that. I'm not a Steelers fan, but I was a Ben Roethlisberger fan. Ben is one of the first quarterbacks I've gotten to see, like being an alert, because of course I've gotten to see other quarterbacks full career, but I was a kid. I wasn't really engaged. But Ben and Drew Brees were two of the quarterbacks that I have literally watched from their college days till the end of their NFL careers. And I've always been a Big Ben fan. When the Steelers won the Super Bowl, I was going crazy because I love Big Ben. Haize, would you rather have an OG who plays no defense, all offense, rebounds guy, or no offensive, barely rebounds, but good defender? Ooh, that's difficult. On this team, see, we need rebounds, but we don't need somebody who's all offense. Like you really threw I would say a good defender there, depending on the position. What's the difference between Chicago rappers and Southern rappers? I would say the Chicago rappers are a little bit more technical from the straightforward MC stance. Chicago rappers are a little bit more technical in that way. Southern rappers can be, but I don't see them as the same. Like MCing and rapping are different, right? Just like wordplay and lyricism are different. Chicago rappers to me have a little bit more of that old school MCing nature. Even if they're doing drill music or whatever, they have that more MCing presence. So it leads them to get a little bit more of attention, I would say. A Swishing Tapes. Haize, I'm a big fan. And what short term fixes do you think we need to make? Like biggest short term fix is Billy Donovan needs to chew everyone out and get them to keep ball movement. That is the big. Like I'm not even going to go into like fixes as far as like bringing anybody in. I say if you can get this team to buy in on always moving without the ball, everyone, it completely changes the outlook of this Bulls offense. Completely changes it. So he'll run with us talking about rapper 78. Listen, classic rock is the shit. So yeah. G Herbo literally sounds like somebody who's speaking English for the first time every time he raps. Like every time. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. So go ahead and get any last. If you got questions or thoughts you want me to read off, get those in now. We're about ready to wrap it up. Um, Hey, great live. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for the community and everything that we continue to build here, especially showing up like this on a loss. We don't usually get outputs like this on a Bulls loss. So I really do appreciate it. What modern rapper should work with KRS-One? Nobody. And that's not a slight on KRS-One. I don't think anybody I don't really think there's any, like, what do you mean by work with? Like a feature from KRS-One? I don't think that does anything for anybody. People need to remember that DeMar is a very willing passer, but you cannot blame him for iso ball because the other players aren't moving. That is a very good point, Darren. That's what I said earlier in the stream as well. So I definitely agree with you there. Off topic, I noticed that 2 game winners by DeMar Mo Sheiks is the only one who celebrates among the coaches, but he's stopping it because he's the only one celebrating. Listen, Mo Cheeks is literally like, you can't tell him he's still not a player. So for sure, I'm going back in time not too long ago. Were you more impressed with Big Ben led Bulls on 07 beating an injury riddled Heat in the playoffs, or the Bulls beating the Nets in the 7-game series in 2013? Not the 2013 series, because Bulls should have beat the Nets. That sweeping the defending champion Miami Heat is always going to be more impressive. That was crazy. Good night, Haize. I hope we bounce back in Carolina. You and me both, brother. What should Shy prioritize in the buyout? Defense, offense. We're good, especially when everybody gets back. We are good offensively. It's definitely the defense. Jason Tatum. I don't know what that's in reference to. You're the go-to Bulls post-game show, man. Thanks for the dedication. I appreciate that, Swisham. We're continuing to grow here. Make sure everybody hits the like button, subscribe button on their way out. Thank you for supporting everything like that. Make sure you're following the podcast at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave us a text or a voicemail, you can do so at 773-270-2799. So that's it for me for today. What? Oh, that's funny. But also, before we go, we're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers by the end of February. We are 1 week into February. We're having a lot of movement. And don't forget, I'll be giving away at the 5,000 subscriber mark. I will be giving away a Chicago Bulls jersey. Whoever wins the competition gets to pick whatever Bulls jersey they will, but I'll be giving away a Bulls jersey once we reach 5,000 subscribers. We're at 4,584 right now. So we need about another 416, if I did my math correctly, to get there. So make sure you spread the word. If you've been watching the channel and not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and hit the subscribe button. But that's it for me for the guys, for tonight, guys and ladies as well. I love you guys, man. I really do appreciate what we're building here. We've been doing some great things here, and the community has just been amazing. So I appreciate you guys for that. But that's it for me for today. Like I liked in everything on Go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace.